So in this video you will learn how to download and install Flutter on your Mac OS. So just open up your browser and search for Flutter, Google for Flutter, and you will see this download Flutter SDK. Just click on that. Here you can also see that, okay, just click one of them. It is flutter.dev. If you want to come here to this page directly, then just type this flutter.dev URL and press enter. It will redirect you to this page. As you can see here, you will see get started button. Click on that, click macOS, okay, and then here you have to keep in mind is what kind of MacBook do you have. Your MacBook has Apple Silicon chip. Apple Silicon chip is basically the M1 and M2 chip. Or let's say if you are watching this video in the future, then maybe Apple has M3 or M4 chip as well. Okay, so it is basically the M category Apple Silicon chip, M1, M2 currently we have. So if you have that MacBook, then you have to run this command in the terminal, okay. Otherwise, if you have a MacBook like me, for example, I have a MacBook which has Intel Core i7, okay, which is Intel basically, and not Apple Silicon chip, which is M1 M2 chip, okay. I have Intel chip. So if you have Intel, then for the Intel you do not need to copy paste and run this command in the terminal. If you have Apple Silicon chip, which is M1 M2 chip, then copy this command and run in the terminal. Otherwise, if you have Intel, then you can proceed to the next step, which is basically this one. So as I told you, if you have Apple Silicon M1 M2 chip, then download this one. I have Intel. If you have Intel, then simply download the Intel one. So I will click on this Intel one, and it is now downloading the Flutter SDK, as you can see. So it has been downloaded successfully. Let's go to the downloads folder. As you can see that now the next thing that we have to do is we have to move this to the desktop, okay, and on the desktop we have to extract this. As you know, it is a .zip file, okay. If you have downloaded it using the Chrome browser, then it will automatically be extracted. However, I have downloaded this using my Google Chrome, so automatically it will not be extracted. It is in .zip file originally, okay, on Google Chrome if you want to download, okay. So as we have downloaded I have downloaded using my Chrome browser, so it is in .zip file. So I have to just right click on it. First I have to extract it. So open with archive utility. So it is going to extract this. So you can see that it has been extracted to Flutter, okay. And now if I show you, if I go inside the Flutter, this is basically our Flutter SDK, using which we will create Flutter application. This is the software development kit. So if you want, you can of course rename this, like I will rename this to Flutter SDK, okay. This is our Flutter SDK. Do not give any extra space while naming this, okay. Just name it like this, Flutter, and then no space SDK, Flutter SDK. If you want, you can delete this zip file. We do not need that. We need this Flutter SDK, as you can see. Now the next step is, the next thing is we have to add the Flutter tool to our path. Now how we can do that? Here you will see this update your path. Click on that, and now the next thing that we have to do is open up the terminal. Now in the terminal, just run this command cd and then the tilde sign, okay, tilde operator, cd tilde sign, and press enter. Then we have to create the ZSHRC file. So in order to create it, you have to type the command touch ZSHRC, and with this you have to type dot first, okay. So dot ZSHRC, touch dot ZSHRC, press enter. Now what you need to do is you need to open up the Finder and simply here go to your home. So just type your MacBook username, in my case Muhammad Ali. So now here this Muhammad Ali, in your case you will have your own username like John Shelby or Mr. John, or I mean your good name. Okay, so if I go to my Muhammad Ali username, then this is basically our home where you see the desktop, document download, and all these things. Okay, so in here you have to press the buttons now on your keyboard, which are command shift dot button. Okay, press command shift dot button on your keyboard and you will see the hidden files. So this file which we just created, which is .zshrc, it is here. You have to double click on it, open it up, and in here we have to paste now the this command, this path basically. Okay, just copy this path and then paste it here. Now instead of this, we have to add the path to our Flutter SDK, that is this one. Okay, so open this Flutter SDK, go inside the bin folder, right click here and you will see get info. Click on get info. So where this is basically the path. Okay, so just copy this path and then come here, and this is this path. Okay, before this bin /bin, just remove this and paste the path which you copied. Okay, so on our desktop we have the Flutter SDK folder. In here we have the bin folder /bin, okay, which is basically this bin folder. So you see we have Flutter SDK on the desktop, then we have bin. So this path we have provided here. Now you have to click on file and click save. Okay, save this. So when you save it, close this, also close this, and now come back to the terminal. Now in the terminal you have to type this. Okay, so this .rc file, remove this, and it basically means the shell ZSHRC. Okay, that is what kind of shell we have. So you have to type ZSHRC, .zshrc, which we just created and to which we add the Flutter bin path. So just press enter now. And now you have to run the command flutter doctor. If you do not see anything and it load, then close the terminal. Okay, open up the terminal again, open up a new terminal now, and first we have to run this command again, which is source home /zshrc, and then run flutter doctor. So you can see that Flutter is set up correctly. Okay, the Flutter SDK is working now. Now we have to install the missing things, and that is basically the Xcode and the Android Studio. Okay, the Android Studio. So first of all, for the Xcode, it is simple. You need to just open up your App Store. Okay, and in the App Store you have to search for Xcode. This one which says Xcode. Okay, I have already installed it. You will see the download button. Just click on that download button in order to install the Xcode in your new MacBook. So install the Xcode first. When you install the Xcode first, then the next thing is to set up the CocoaPods. Okay, this one. So we have to install the CocoaPods now. Now before installing the CocoaPods, one thing which we have to do is we have to go back. Okay, and here on our docs flutter.dev, if you scroll here for the Xcode, okay, for the iOS setup. So for the Xcode, to configure the Xcode command line tools after installing the Xcode, okay, make sure that first you install Xcode. As I told you, when you install the Xcode, then you will see this open button, which means that you have successfully installed the Xcode. Okay, once you install the Xcode, you have to copy this command, and then in your terminal you have to run this command. So just paste that command and it will press enter. Okay, it will ask for your password, your MacBook password. So just type your MacBook password and press enter. Then you have to run this second one, which is sudo xcode. Okay, run first launch. Copy this second command and run this as well in the terminal. After running these two commands, the next thing is to run this command, which is to accept the Xcode build license. So just copy this command, open up the terminal, and inside the terminal you can paste that command and press enter. And you have to press the space button for more. So here in the terminal, press your space button on the keyboard, on your MacBook keyboard, just to read this whole agreement. Okay, press space button. Okay, just keep pressing the space button on your keyboard until you reach here. So by typing agree, you will agree to that. So just type agree and press enter. So it is done successfully. We agree to the Xcode license, and once you do that, next thing is here we have to also now install the CocoaPods. So in order to install the CocoaPods, you have to type this command in the terminal. Okay, and that command is sudo gem install CocoaPods. So CocoaPods. Okay, just type this exact command, which is sudo gem install CocoaPods, and then press enter. So it is going to install now the CocoaPods. It will take some time, so you have to be patient and wait for it. Now close this terminal and we have to verify. Still we will have one thing. Let me just show it to you. If you open up a new terminal, first make sure to run this command, which is source $home/.zshrc, and then we have to run the command flutter doctor again. Still you will see CocoaPod not install, and the reason is we have to run one more command. Open up the terminal again, then write this command xcode-select space -- install. Press enter, and you will see this pop up. You have to click on install. Then you have to read this and then click agree. Then continue. So it has been installed successfully. And open up your browser and simply search for Homebrew. We are going to install the Homebrew in our MacBook. Now you can see install Homebrew, this command. Just copy this, click here, open up a brand new terminal, paste that command and press enter. And it asks for your password, so type your password and press enter. So press enter to continue. So let's wait for it. It is installing the Homebrew, which will hopefully fix our CocoaPods error, because we will now install the CocoaPods using the Homebrew terminal command successfully in our MacBook. Now the next thing that we need to do is, first let's close the terminal, open up a new terminal now, and then run this command, which is brew cleanup -d-v. Then we are going to install the CocoaPods using brew, which is Homebrew. Okay, so write this command, which is brew install CocoaPods. Press enter. So we are installing the CocoaPods using the brew, or you can say using the Homebrew. So let's wait for it. It will take some time. Now it will fix our error that is earlier, which we were getting using the sudo gem install CocoaPods. Okay, using the Homebrew brew command, we can install it successfully without any error. Now most probably you will see this, the brew link step did not complete successfully. So if you see that, then you have to run this command, which is brew link -- overwrite CocoaPods. Run that command and let's wait for it. We can simply run this command, which is brew link overwrite CocoaPods. Run this command. See, we get no error now this time. So now if we close the terminal, let's open up the terminal again, and we have to run the command flutter doctor. First run this command, which is this one, source $home/.zshrc. Now run the flutter doctor command. So now you can see that Xcode is set up correctly, that is developed for iOS and macOS. So for the Xcode, it has been completed successfully. Now the next thing is we have to install the Android Studio. Okay, so for that purpose, let's close the terminal and open up your browser and simply search for Android Studio. This one, Android Studio. Click on that. Download Android Studio. So you will see this agreement. You have to read, agree, and then if you have a MacBook with an Apple M1, M2 chip, then you have to click this one. If you have Intel chip, which is just like me, so I have a MacBook with an Intel chip, so I will click on Mac with Intel chip. So it is going to download now the Android Studio, as you can see. So we have to wait for it. So Android Studio has been downloaded successfully. If you go to the downloads folder, you will see it. Now you have to double click on this. You will see this pop-up window. You have to drag the Android Studio to the applications folder. Okay, like this. Once you do this, done, you can simply close this and go to the applications, that is to the launchpad, and inside the launchpad you will see Android Studio. Click on Android Studio in order to open it up and to install it. Click open. Then click OK. Don't send. Click next. Select standard version and click next. Here you can choose the theme which you want. I will proceed with the dark theme. Click next. Click next. Now here we have to accept the licenses. For example, we have these two. Okay, you have to select the first one, which is Android SDK license, accept. Then the Android SDK preview license, select this and accept. If there is any third, fourth, then select it one by one and accept it. Okay, when you accept the license for all of these, then you will see the finish button. Click on this and it is going to now download and install the required components of Android Studio in your MacBook, in your Mac OS. So wait for it. It will take some time depending upon your internet speed. So you can see that it has been installed successfully. Click on finish. Welcome to Android Studio. That is, this is our Android Studio. You need to click on plugins and we have to install the plugin, which is Flutter plugin. This one, Flutter. Okay, click install, click accept, click install. Now alongside with this Flutter plugin, it will also automatically install the Dart plugin. We have to, of course, verify it. First click on Restart IDE, restart. Go to plugins and just check out Dart. So you can see that Dart plugin is also installed successfully. So come back to the projects and you will see this button, new Flutter project. So how you can create a brand new Flutter project now? Well, Before doing that, one thing which we have to do is just close the Android Studio, open up the terminal, and then in the terminal you have to run this source $home/.zshrc and then run the command which is flutter doctor. So now the Android Studio is installed successfully. You can see that. One thing which we have to do is we have to cmd command line tools we have to install for the Android Studio. You open up the Android Studio, and then here you will see this more actions. Click on more actions, click on SDK manager. Make sure that Android SDK is selected, then click on SDK tools, and inside the SDK tools you will see Android SDK command line tools. Check this, then click apply, click OK. It is going to install the Android SDK command line tools. It will take some 2-3 minutes. You have to just wait for it. It totally depends upon your internet speed. So it has been installed successfully. Click finish, click OK. And now let's close the Android Studio, and inside the terminal just write the command flutter doctor again. And now let's see. If it is taking too much time, then you need to simply close the terminal, okay? Quit the terminal, open up a new terminal, command and press enter, and then run flutter doctor. So here you can see that the SDK command line tools has been installed successfully. Now the next thing we have to do is just to accept the Android licenses. Okay, so how we can do that? Well, for that you have to just copy this flutter doctor -- Android licenses command. Now flutter doctor -- Android licenses. So let's just run this flutter doctor -- Android licenses. Okay, flutter doctor -- Android licenses. So you have to accept it, write Y, which means yes. Y, yes, 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 accept all. Okay, and now if you run the flutter doctor again, so congratulations, we have successfully installed Flutter in our MacBook. The Flutter SDK is installed successfully, Android Studio is installed successfully, Xcode is also installed successfully, we have Chrome, and all the things are set up correctly, as you can see that. Now the next thing is to create our first brand new project. So open up the Android Studio and let's create a brand new Flutter project. Click on new Flutter project. Make sure to select Flutter from the left panel, and here you have to provide SDK path. So you know that in our case it is on the desktop. So click on this 3-dotted button, and on the desktop we have our Flutter SDK. So just select this Flutter SDK and click open. Okay, so provide the path like this, and then click next. Give it the project name, first_app. Remember, the name of your Flutter project must be in small English alphabets, and do not give any space. Instead of space you can use underscore. Okay, so first_app, and then let's create. So it is going to create our first brand new Flutter project. So our project is created successfully. First of all, make sure that from here this project is selected, okay? And here in the lib folder we create our files where basically we write our code, okay? Our screens of our app we develop, that is the development code we write here. For example, in the start, whenever you create a brand new Flutter project, we have a default main.dot file from where our app starts, and here we have this default my home page implemented where we have a counter app, the initial default code, okay? For that it is written here. However, now what you need to do, if you see this as a suggestion which says Android SDK is missing, then click on configure and choose this first one, Android API. Just click on that and it is going to configure that. You have to wait for it, as you know that the analyzing is going on. So it has been done successfully. Now is the time to test our application. So first we will test. Let's open up the Android phone, that is Android emulator. So you have to click on this device manager, and then in the device manager click on this play button. This is our Android emulator, okay? If you want to create a new Android phone, you can create by clicking this create device. From here select the phone, Pixel, or any phone you want, select the API which is downloaded. You can download any other API if you want. Just choose the downloaded API, click next and click finish. So you see our new phone is created now, Android phone. Let's click on this play button in order to opening up the Android phone. You have to wait for it. It will take 2-3 minutes to open it up. Android phone is opened successfully. It is on now. Now let's click on the play button in order to install the app on our Android emulator. As I told you guys earlier, for the first time it will take some 10 to 15 minutes, okay, when you install the app on the iPhone or when you install the app on your Android smartphone. So as you can see that the app is installed successfully on our Android phone as well. So congratulations, you have successfully installed the Flutter on your MacBook for the iOS Android web. How we can test it on the iOS simulator? Well, it is simple. If you click here, then you will see open iOS simulator. Just click on this open iOS simulator and it is going to open up the iPhone 14 Pro Max. So let's wait for it. When it is open, then we can install our first app. So once the iPhone is opened successfully, as you can see, it is turned on successfully. Now you can click on the play button in order to install the app on our iPhone 14 Pro Max. So the app has been installed successfully, as you can see that. So it is working on the iPhone, as you can see that.